Hello guys, I am back with another episode. There is a message that I want to share with you guys, and this message, it is a continuation of a message that I received. It comes from one of our dear sister who is saying that she was a slay queen. This is an email that was forwarded to me by one of our admins, and the message reads like this. Subject: Confession of a Slay Queen. I am back with my story, dear brother. So some of these men, they practice what is called fetish. Here is the meaning of fetish. Fetish is a form of a sexual desire in which gratification is strongly linked to a particular object or any activity or any part of the body other than the sexual organs. It is maybe in their culture, or it is done by mostly these rich guys. Most of the men that I have dated, I have noticed that if they are not rich, most of them, they are not obsessed by any other part of the body than these rich guys. I once dated a man who told me that he didn't want to have any penetration. He just wanted to have sexual intercourse with me using my feet. So what I used to do is that I would lie on the bed, then he will be kneeling just close to my feet, then he will have intercourse with me using my feet. Maybe because they do not know what to do with their money. That guy, he used to pay me a lot of money. You will never believe how much money he was paying just to have intercourse with my feet. Maybe they just enjoy seeing other human beings suffer, or because it makes them to feel much superior. I don't know the reason, but they practice it anyway, and to them it is a form of their entertainment. Maybe when you are so rich, you just go crazy and you start to believe in other things that do not even exist. So when I was speaking with Azah, she gave me her own confession, her own account of the story. This is what happened to Azah. Azah told me that when she was driven to that isolated mansion at the time when Zizi was flying to Paris with some billionaires, Azah was then driven by this bodyguard, and she said that she went to this other mansion. Azah told me that the place that she went with the bodyguard who was driving her, the mansion was in a remote area, and when she got inside that mansion, everything inside was so beautiful. And she told me that the bodyguard then went with her into another room. And when she was given an instruction to go into that room, she thought that the room that she was being told to get into, it was like the other rooms that she had seen in that mansion. She expected to see a beautiful, luxurious room, but she said that when she entered into that room, it was like she had stepped into another world. She said that the first thing that she noticed, the room was so smelly, and there were a lot of women that were locked up inside that room. She said some of these women, they were Chinese women, some of them were Latina and white women. There were also black women, mostly from Western Africa. So she said when she was locked inside that room, she noticed that in the middle of that room, there was a toilet that was built in the middle of that room. And this toilet, it was like one of those Blair toilets. And she said that it was really smelly because those women, whenever they wanted to relieve themselves, the women that were locked up in that room, they would just walk over to that toilet, then they would just relieve themselves. Azah said that the room was filled with animal feces, but mostly it was horse and dog droppings. The room was just smelly, and she said it was really filthy. And there were ladies that were inside that room. They looked exhausted. Some of them, they were vomiting. Azah then said that there was another bodyguard who came into that room. He was holding something that looked like a file, and it had a timetable. All of them, they were given a timetable, and one by one, those bodyguards would come and they would collect them. Azah was collected, and she went into another room, and when she got into that room, that is when she found out that those two bodyguards came, but they were holding a golden plate, and they told her that she had to pick up some of those animal droppings. So she scooped up some of those animal droppings that were inside the room that they were locked into. And after she had picked those animal droppings, those bodyguards then let her out of the room. They went with her upstairs into the main bedroom, and when she walked into that main bedroom, she said that 3 men were waiting for her, and these men, they really looked like they were billionaires. And once the bodyguard had stepped out of the room, then those men started to use Azah in any kind of a way that suited them. After that, they instructed her to eat some of that poo that she had collected from that room where she was locked inside. Those men forced Azah to eat those animal droppings. Those men, they came to the place where she was kneeling down because she was struggling to eat those animal droppings that were inside that golden plate. After that, she was instructed to go into the shower. After she had finished to shower, then there was a male servant who came and he brought her a blanket to cover her body. She was taken back into that main bedroom. This time around, she said that all of those men, they slept with her in the natural way, but they did this to her all night long until her nightmare ended. This was at around 5 a.m. in the morning. When those men had finished doing whatever they were doing with Azah, one of those men took his phone and called that same bodyguard who had driven Azah to that mansion that was in a remote area. And he told the bodyguard that they were done with her. They didn't want to see her anymore. The bodyguard came and knocked on the bedroom door and they let her out. Azah said that as he was walking out of that main bedroom, one of those men who was lying in bed laughed at Azah and he said, "You should check your bank balance and you will see how much we have transferred into your account. You are rich now, so you don't have to feel bad. It only took you one night. Did you die? You did not die." And one of those men started to laugh and said, "What doesn't kill you make you stronger." Azah, when she returned back to the hotel where we were, that is when she found out that Ashraf had been given 500,000 rands. And when Azah confronted Ashraf, because the previous night Ashraf had told Azah that whatever money she was going to make on that night, Ashraf was only going to take a cut of only 20%. But when Azah checked her account, she saw that Ashraf had only deposited 35,000 rands. She was really angry. But when she tried to speak with Ashraf, Azah said that on that night, Ashraf was really angry, and with the way that I was screaming, Azah said that I felt afraid to continue the confrontation that was happening between me and Ashraf because I thought that maybe he had done something bad to you, and I was afraid that if I continue being this stubborn, maybe he was going to have me killed. Azah told me that whilst she was locked up in that room, that is when she spoke with another woman who was from Nigeria and she had exchanged numbers with that woman. When Azah told me that she had exchanged numbers with that woman who was also locked up in the same room where Azah was locked up, this was like our saving grace. We asked Azah if she was able to hook up with that woman. We pretended to Ashraf as if we wanted to go and have some fun. We pretended as if we were enjoying everything that he was doing to us. So he gave us some space and he said, "Ladies, go out and do whatever you want. But remember that you have to stay close to your phones because if I call you, I need to speak with you. I don't want to call you and you don't pick up your phones. If you are going out to drink, make sure that one of you stays sober." And he sounded so angry when he told us that we were supposed to stay close to our phones. We got out of the hotel. We didn't have any intentions to go out and party and drink because with all the things that were happening to us, where were we going to get all of that energy to go to a nightclub and party? Meanwhile, Azah was in communication with that woman whom she had met in that mansion, who was from Nigeria. We hooked up for dinner at Vanitas, a restaurant that was close to our hotel, and she told us her story. She told us that she was just someone who was trying to earn an innocent living back in her country, but here and there she was dating some men. But she said that here and there she was dating rich men, and that is when she had met this Arabic man at this other party where she had gone with her other boyfriend. And whilst her boyfriend was busy dozing off, she then spoke with that wealthy Arabic man, and they went and they booked in this other hotel, and they stayed in that hotel for about 3 hours. That Arabic man then made a business proposal to that woman whom Azah had met whilst she was locked up in that mansion. The proposal was that the man was going to offer that woman stuff for her boutique that she had in Nigeria. She had a business that wasn't doing very well. After they had done the transaction in which she slept with him and the man gave her a lot of money, she said that the money that he gave her, it was a lot of US dollars. They returned back to the party and they pretended as if nothing had happened between them, but they had already exchanged numbers. From the time that she had met that man at the party where she had gone with her boyfriend, it took her only 1 month. She was already in Dubai shopping around. When she was in Dubai, she said that she met the same man and the man had her booked in another hotel room. But this man told her that he could not be seen walking around with her. That is why she was staying in that hotel room. The man will just visit her here and there. The man then promised her that he was going to give her a Visa card, and the Visa card that he was going to give her, it was going to be loaded with money so that she can buy whatever stuff that she wanted to buy for her boutique back in Nigeria. But she said that when she went around shopping, that is when she saw that the Visa card that she had been given by that man, it didn't have enough funds. So she called that man, the man that she kept on referring to as Yasan. That is when she called that man who had invited her to Dubai, and she kept on referring to this man as Yasan. When she called Yasan, unfortunately, Yasan told her that it was quite unfortunate because he was already out of the country. He was on a business trip to China and he didn't know when he was going to fly back to Dubai. She was stuck because when she went there, she was dependent on him. She didn't have any money. And when she told Yasan that the Visa card that he had given to her before he had left her in that hotel room, it kept on being declined. That is when Yasan told her that maybe she had been scammed because as far as he knew, the Visa card was fully loaded. That woman then said that she was really desperate. She didn't know what to do anymore. And at the hotel where she was booked in, she had been given a notification that within 2 days she was supposed to vacate that room where she was booked in because the funds had already run out and she couldn't pay with that Visa card because it kept on being declined. As a woman, she said that I had no choice. That is when I went out into the night. She said that she did a quick Google search just looking for different VIP clubs that were in the area where she was staying. Then she went to this other VIP club, and when she was in that club, that is when she met this other man. All that she wanted was to fly back home. The man then promised her that he could assist her with a flight ticket back to her country. All that she needed was about 3,000 US dollars. That woman said that she and that man went back to that hotel room where she had been booked by Yasan, and after they had done whatever they were doing, that man was faithful enough to give her the money that she was in need of. She also said that the man was really handsome. and the man had showed interest in her, and she bought her stuff and she flew back to her country. When she was back in her country, they kept on texting, and she felt like she owed him. She really wanted to show her gratitude because that man had helped her when she was desperate. When Yasan had left her in that hotel room, they went on and they had their relationship, but all along they had their relationship online. She said that they used to speak almost on a daily basis. That is when that man told her that he was flying to South Africa for his business errands, and she was also invited to go and meet up with him. When she flew from Nigeria to South Africa, she said that there was this other incident that happened. If only she had looked with She said that if only she had not been blinded by love, maybe she could have returned back to her country. She said that when she landed in South Africa, there was something that happened, and she was crying at that time because she said that the moment that I landed in South Africa, there is something that happened. If only I was not blinded by love, maybe I would have returned back to my country. Because when she landed, she expected to see that man, but he was not there. There was another Indian guy who then told her that his boss was busy with this other meeting. He was having a meeting with some of his business partners, so he had been sent to come and collect her. She said that as soon as she got into the car, everything just changed. Within a short period of time, she was flown out of South Africa using a private jet that was headed for Dubai. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was forwarded to me by one of our admins. If you have any similar story that you want us to share with the rest of the world, please do not hesitate. You can contact us via our email address, then we will share your story with the rest of the world. Dear listeners, let us meet again in the following episode.